Greetings, Patrick here. Welcome to Eight Questions with on a cold and very chilly southeastern Michigan night. Even though it's supposed to be warming up, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's colder than ever. But it is warmer. Uh, and yeah, so we're starting to see our snow melt, but I'm still freezing my ass off. Uh, hey Russell, how are you? Jerry was here. I see Jerry. Greetings, sir. Anthony is at Dave and Buster's, so we won't be seeing Anthony again. Win lots of prizes. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. And we're inviting an old friend back to hang out with us. Our good friend Ken Sledge from Sledgehammer Horror is going to come out, and him and I are just gonna have some fun, catch up, talk. Even though we talk a lot off camera, but I wanted him to come on here and we'll talk a little bit about some horror, obviously horror films. Of course, the sad news today: James Van Der Beek passed away. Um, it was really weird. It was like I was doing a show. I was doing a retro tube show, and I was watching me and Eric from Hate Internet. It's Eric, and he and I were watching an episode of Renegade, which is coming out soon, and we were talking about James Van Der Beek, and I had mentioned that I was thinking about doing covering the finale of Dawson's Creek, and because I didn't think, honestly, I just didn't think he was, based on what he looked like, based on what I've seen before, he didn't look like he was going to make it very much longer. And then I got a ping today from Eric. He's like, dude, he's like, you called that. Um, didn't mean to, rather not have. But anybody could tell. I guess I knew for sure is when he couldn't make it to a reunion show. He said he was too sick, and yeah, yeah. When he didn't make that, then you knew that he was on his last legs, and that's how cancer works. Um, Very unfortunate. I feel sorry for his wife and his six kids. He's only 48 years old. 48. That's it. Uh, but he did leave a legacy. He left a legacy behind, not necessarily horror movie related, of course, but still a legacy. I mean, Dawson's Creek, and this is the only thing I have of Dawson's Creek. I don't have any of the seasons, and I'll be honest with you, I never saw the show, though I do know the people in the show. I do know that Joshua Jackson was in there. Joshua Jackson's right here, and Katie Holmes, of course, went on to have a great career. Michelle Williams, um, Kerr Smith, who ended up doing the first Final Destination film. So they all went on to have, and even James himself, he went on to do Varsity Blues, and he did a lot of TV work. He was very popular, um, and they all went on to have great careers. From Dawson's Creek, it was a very successful launch pad for them. So, but yeah, it was sort of a bit of a sort of a sad thing to hear about. Um, okay, everybody saying hi to everybody else. That's awesome. Renegade, yeah, that's Renegade. So, mm. So I started this show. I started this new series on the channel called RetroTube. I have a playlist for it, so if you guys want to catch up to it, you can. So really, what I do is we get a TV show, and then we pull an episode from that TV show, and then we talk about it. So I had tried this once before with Real Talk with Ryan, and I had made a mistake and messed up my first collaboration. So I came back and did it with Eric. And so I decided to pick out Renegade. Renegade is came out in 1992, and it starred Lorenzo Lamas, and it was a fun show. And I picked out I oh, that's right. That's right. You're right. Hey Prince. Holy cow. What's going on, my main man? I seen you with some other streams, man. You're out there carrying the banner for us. I see you out there, and there's Lady Valerie, of course. That's right, our fearless leader. Wherever there's Bigfoot, we'll follow Val to wherever that may be. Of course, we'll be behind Michael, of course. Yeah, welcome in. Ken will be here shortly. We're gonna be talking. We're gonna be. It's gonna be noticeable to see what we're not talking about today. We're not going to talk about that movie. We're not talking about that movie. We're not going to do it. We're going to talk about a bunch of other things, like in Renegade. Like Renegade, Lorenzo Lamas came out in 1992, and me and Eric we watched the episode of it the first time. The first time we watched this episode, and it was so much fun. I couldn't believe how much fun we had with this. And that's going to be coming out next Wednesday. I'm not going to give any spoilers out here, but check out our adventure and who was in this episode of Renegade. So, and I put this out there. I'll put this out there. Of course, Lady Valerie's going to do it. I just got to get a time with her. But if you guys want to come do a retro tube, you guys just ping me on Facebook. Ping me on Facebook if you got TikTok. Ping me on there. Say, hey, I want to in on the action, and we'll make it happen. Yeah, no problem at all. See, fun fact: James Van Der Beek filmed Varsity Blues during the break of the first season of Dawson's Creek. Yeah, that was when their star just started to rise, right? Oh my gosh! And of course, Katie Holmes. She and I mean, all those guys had. They've all done horror films, if I'm not mistaken, except for James Van Der Beek. I'm not sure if he ever did a horror film. I know that Joshua Jackson did. Definitely know Katie Holmes did. Of course, she did the faculty. And Michelle Williams, I believe she has done also a couple of horror films. And of course, probably the most famous of them all doing a horror film is Carr Smith, who did the first Final Destination. So yeah, yeah, they all have their fingers dipped in horror, that's for sure. Um, so yeah, we're not going to mention that movie. It's talked out. Besides, there's some other great news to talk about. That Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz have agreed to come back to do a fourth Mummy film. I think they waited so long. They've been talking about doing the fourth film. This is just a guess, way off, maybe way off of it, but I think they postponed off the official wording because they're talking about this like 6-7 months ago, and I think the reason why they didn't announce it till today was, well, if you guys know about Brendan Fraser, he's very self-conscious, and I think he wants to do the movie, but I think he wants to be in the best shape that he can be. He can't do the movie, at the same, at the same size he did the whale. Even though I know that's a bodysuit, but he has severe issues, mental health issues. But he's come back. He's come back, and he's come back with a vengeance. And I think the reason why they postponed it till today, as I think he's finally in a really good place to where he feels comfortable and confident in himself to go out there and do the fourth film, and because it's a physical part, right? I mean, they're not going to just sit on the sidelines and watch younger people do it. We're going to see the McConnells go after it. The only thing I noticed, and I hope to hell that they fix this, is you got to have Oded Freire played who played their Son Obey, and then you got to have Arnold Vosloo. He's got to play Imhotep. You got to bring back Imhotep. So hopefully the core four will come back for another adventure, and of course John Hannah's still with us too. So John Hannah could get in there, and he was always great comic relief. Always enjoyed watching him in the movies, and he did come through when he was needed. So uh, So me and Ken are going to be talking a little bit about, we're going to take questions from you guys. This is just, this is just friends right here today for this one. But we do got more guests coming up here. I'll let you know about what's coming up on the calendar. So next Wednesday, Doc Kaiju is going to be coming up with his partner Critter. They run the Kaiju Critter show on their YouTube channel, and you know me, I'm all about the Kaiju. So they're going to be coming out and hanging out with us next Wednesday. So next Wednesday will be all things Godzilla, Monarch, Legacy, anything that you can think of with a monster in it. We'll be talking about it, and that'll be next Wednesday at 8:00. And then next Thursday, I don't have anything Thursday. Oh, no, let's see, Friday. Yes. On Friday the 19th, we have actress Laura LaMonaco will be here with us. And she will be talking acting. She is also an acting teacher. So I'm always really interested in talking to acting teachers. I think they're a lot of fun to talk to because they don't ever teach the same thing twice. So I want to see how she approaches teaching new acting students, and what is it like teaching them today versus just even a few years ago. The dynamic has changed. It's not just the same old. I think the dynamic has changed as far as actors being taught and how they receive the instruction and how they apply it to their career. So we'll be talking with Laura a week from Thursday about that. So I can't wait for that. She's a really nice lady, and I'm looking forward to chewing the fat with her. All right. Let's see. On the 22nd, that's a Sunday. Of course, at 8:00, I'll be hosting the show for Mighty Mary. Here comes our Ken. Bringing the sledgehammer. There he is.
What's going on?
I was reading the calendar.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are. How you doing, man?
Good. So obviously the big news today, the Tigers signed Justin Verlander.
Huge news. This is something that I'm very, very excited about. What is going on, man? Something is happening.
I told the guy with the mask on, the one that's coming out later on this month. I told him to take a freaking hike for this show. So I think he might be trying to haunt you.
Right. I got some kind of ad playing somewhere, and I don't know where it's playing. Oh, maybe there it is. There we go. All right. Sorry if you guys could hear that. I don't know why that was happening. Oh, so, Verlander. That is something to me. His second half numbers last year were absolutely incredible. I'm trying to pull them up right now.
Yeah, I'm glad he's coming back because I don't think he left in the best of circumstances. When he left,
right.
I think there was a lot of bitterness behind. So I think it's really cool that they were able to patch that up and bring him back. And
what I think is so good about that, and I try to tell this to people, he signed a $13 million contract, and in his $13 million contract, $11 million of that is deferred to 2030 and beyond. So between now and 2030, he's making $2 million. This is not a money move.
No.
This is not something he's doing trying to make money. This is him wanting to come here, wanting to win, wanting to finish his career in Detroit.
And get 300 wins. I mean, how many wins does he have? How many career wins does he have?
Right now, I think he needs 34 to go. Yeah, he's at 266 career wins right now. So he needs 34 wins.
He could do it. he's still got enough good stuff that he could get 15 games per year, and I can see that happening for him.
Well,
Uh,
I think if he wins a good amount of games this year, the Tigers re-sign him for another year after that.
mhm. Guy's still
I think
popping mid 90s. That's the thing. It's not.
right.
I mean, he's sort of got a Nolan Ryan about him. He can still touch 95, 96 once in a while. Can't throw the 100 anymore, but he still can hit 95 with movement.
Well, I mean,
Jason,
he started off the year bad last year. He had a bad start to the year because he was still recovering from surgery. And his second half numbers, he had an ERA under 3 in 15 starts over the second half. That's nothing to scoff at. Those are good numbers.
considering the division that he was playing in too,
Right. He's going up against
and
the Padres, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks. There's no slouches there. You're playing,
no,
yeah, you got to play Colorado, but you're playing in Colorado.
yeah. Everybody's if you guys are sort of surprised by this, don't be, because Ken is a big sports fan.
Huge.
And he and we talk a lot of sports off camera, so I don't want you guys thinking that we're talking a foreign language here, because we do. If you can see his hat there, he does bleed Detroit. Hey, Corey, thank you for coming by, sir. Hey, Steven,
I mean,
how are you? How are you?
it's not just the hat, too, guys. It is, yeah. I'm Detroit all the way. Detroit sports is in my blood. It's mostly baseball. I love football. I love my Pistons. Love my Red Wings, but baseball is my number one. If you guys are here from Sledgehammer Horror, you'll notice this is not my live stream tonight. This is controlled by Have Cheetah Will View, my good friend Patrick. Make sure you're subscribing to his channel, please. He's amazing, very good friend of mine. Like he said, me and Patrick talk every single day. That's not a joke. That's not an exaggeration.
No.
We talk every single day. So please make sure you're subscribing to his channel as well. Very good friend of mine. Very, very excited to be here tonight with him.
Yeah, I'm glad too. And it's I mentioned that I mentioned the big news being Verlander. That was sort of like, just because it's sort of like dread to go down that hallway. But I was talking about it before he got here about the passing of James Vanderbeek, and man, I'm bummed out by that. I am bummed.
It's so hard, man. Like it's something that you never want to see a human being lose their life. Like that's just not something that you ever want to see. Cancer is to an extent. Cancer is cancer is a terrible thing, and it seems like I just found out he was diagnosed yesterday. It seems like, and he's already gone.
I think
Like I said, one of my
a little over a year ago.
yeah, one of my favorite movies of all time actually is Angus, and he's the the antagonist in that movie, and his performance is so good. And then you get him in Varsity Blues and Dawson's Creek, and you get so many good, amazing performances this guy did. And not just that, but who he was as a human being. Like he's just a good dude. Like he's just a very good human being. And hearing that news today.
I mentioned that to Eric from Hey Internet. It's Eric. Him and I were talking about it because we're doing. I said we were doing a recording yesterday, and we're talking about James Vanderbeek, and I was saying how he was really, because I was thinking about doing for RetroTube. I was thinking about doing the finale of Dawson's Creek. I was going to cover that because I knew he was really sick, and I was thinking maybe I could get it in there before he passed. Because I wanted to say, hey, don't forget this guy. Don't forget James Vanderbeek. He's one of the rare guys, one of the rare stars that I can really bring this up, and I think you guys can agree that he's probably one of the only people I know that worked Hollywood that no one said a bad word about. Nobody.
Right.
I never read a bad word about the man.
That's what I was just saying earlier. I did a live about it, and it was just seeing the fact that he was so universally loved by people. You had so many people coming out today in support of him, and he was never in any type of drama, any type of bullshit. It really does suck. The whole situation sucks. Young, very young, not even 50.
No,
Like
48.
so terrible.
Left the wife and 6 kids. That's rough. That's
Yeah,
really rough. And he wasn't working very much for the last year because he
right,
was so sick. So and people who think that all these people have billions of dollars, a lot of them don't have that.
right.
When one gets sick, it can affect the whole family. And
Yeah, like
he was the breadwinner.
and like you said, he 6 kids, man. That's 6 kids that are growing up without their father. Yeah, like that's just you hate to see it.
Cancer sucks. Cancer sucks.
Yeah, fuck
Um,
cancer.
but as far as the legacy, though, I mean, I was like we were talking about, Dawson's Creek, man. It's like, we're it's amazing to think about. I'm looking at this again. And I'm going like, there's a lot of horror legacy in this group of actors right here. I mean, this is a launch pad right here.
Yeah,
Um, I didn't really think about it until I was looking at it and going like, Jesus Christ, they all did horror. I mean, every one of these guys had done a horror movie that we all love and
yeah.
remember. Um, Joshua Jackson did a movie for one of my favorite IFC movies. Joshua Jackson did called 6 Weeks, and he played a
Okay.
man who was sick, and it's a beautiful film too, great film. But the legacy that they had, it's like you think of team series, and all of a sudden here you go and you look at it and go like, Jesus, man, there's a lot of horror in this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, well, you know what? So I know you have seen quite a few movies recently, and the one trilogy I really want to talk to you a little bit about is no, not that one. I want to talk a little bit about The Strangers because, man, I want to get your opinion about what the hell happened to that trilogy.
Oh boy. Um. Okay. We are going to have some spoilers here for The Strangers Chapter 3. If you guys haven't seen it, just letting you know, we're going to be talking some spoilers. I think they took The Strangers and they did the total opposite of what the intention of it was. The intention of The Strangers was you don't know who they are, you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. They're evil. They knocked on the door. You answered. They did what they did. They tried to give them a backstory. Thank God they didn't try to make it a sympathetic backstory. It was still they were evil. That was it.
Right.
But we don't care about any of this. I don't care where they came from. I don't care who Tamara is. It the way they flipped it to make it so that it's the people that they're hurting are the strangers, not the people themselves, was really weird to me. The title card in the third movie says a serial killer is someone that kills 3 or more people, blah 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 blah, and most of them are strangers, insinuating that the people that they're hurting are the ones that are strangers, not the villains themselves. When you watch that first movie, the ambiguity, that's the word I'm looking for. The ambiguity of the whole movie is that's the name of the game. Did she live? Did she die? Who were they? Why did they do it? These are all the questions that you have throughout the movie that are never answered. People say she lived because at the end she jumps up and grabs the kid by the arm. I still say she died in that movie because at the beginning it says the events of that night are still unknown. If she lived, the events of that night would not have been unknown. We would have known the events of that night because she was alive. But yeah, I think the big thing is you can't help bad writing. Rennie Harlan's a great director.
You really think he is,
Madeline
man? Because
Petch.
I think he is too.
Oh, I love Rennie. I think he's fantastic. But I just don't think. And Madeline Petch, I think, is a fantastic actress. I think that what the most positives about that movie to me were Madeline Petch, and a lot of the scenes were greatly shot. I mean, I think the cinematography of it was great. I think the direction was great, but you can't fix a bad script. Like you just
Yeah.
can't. And
And we saw
so,
that with the Exorcist movie, and we also saw that with Halloween Ends. We saw extremely poor writing both times. Um,
and it just really sucks to see that it went down the way that it did. Because Brian Bertino, I think, is amazing. I think he is an amazing writer director. I love the first Strangers movie. I love The Dark and the Wicked. I loved last year's Vicious. Um, I think that he's a fantastic storyteller, and I think his way of creating dread and suspense is incredible.
sure.
And you didn't have that, and especially The Strangers Chapter 2 and 3, in my opinion. Chapter 2 was just a drawn out chase scene that lasted 90 minutes that didn't have a conclusion. And Chapter 3 was a Nightingale effect movie, and it didn't work for me. Like, man. I'm a guy that wants to like every movie he sees. I don't ever go into a movie like, oh, I hope I don't have a good time today. I want to like movies I watch. I want to have fun with the movies I watch. There just wasn't any fun. And the trilogy's most brutal chapter, there was nothing brutal about this movie. Everything was off screen. Everything. So, and
I think what really sucks for the movie too is the fact that they shot up back to back to back so fast. They didn't leave
yep,
themselves any wriggle room. It's and that's, I think that really hurt the series, the trilogy more than anything else, is that they filmed it so quick that by the time the first movie came out, didn't do that well. I mean, did well. I mean, as far as making the most money, but it didn't do very well as far as return business or word of mouth.
no,
Okay, then you can go back and you can tweak it. You can tweak it, and get ready for the second movie, and take the lessons from the first. The third one's not even done yet. It's not even planned out yet, because you're going based on what the first movie does. But they filmed it back to back to back, and it's like, wow, we're stuck with what we got. We have to write. I mean, that's the reason why people they're talking like, how can the movies keep on sucking so hard? Well,
yeah,
because they were locked in place. Short of them doing a Warner Brothers and throwing it inside the vault and claiming for tax purposes like they did for Batwoman, there's nothing they can do. The studio's locked, and I don't think they wanted to take it out of the theater, because that's acknowledging the fact that they have no faith at all in anybody, and that's the reason why they ran it out into the theater, I think. But I just think that's what really hurt it more than anything else, is they shot it back to back.
I think anytime you announce that a movie's a trilogy, especially in horror, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're taking any type of dread and anxiety away from the movie, because we know who's safe. We know who's. That one of the strangers died in chapter 2. Like, okay, I knew that Scarecrow was safe. I knew Madeline Petch was safe. Mara, I think her name was. I can't remember her name in the film, but I knew she was safe. Like, you can't. It's kind of like when you do a horror movie prequel. I know who's safe in this movie. I know that this
Right.
person is going to make it out. So there's nothing that
No
I'm worried
suspense.
about. Yeah, there's no suspense with this movie. So I think that's the part that bothers me the most about horror movies that announce a trilogy right off the bat, and horror movies that are prequels. I think that's my biggest objection to those. Is it's so easy to be like, well, just like Five Nights at Freddy's. Hey, we're doing 3 Five Nights at Freddy's movies. They announce it right away, and it's like, well, I know my 2 main characters are safe for at least the first 2. There's no
Right.
dread. I don't feel any. I'm not worried at all for them. And
See,
the same thing with
see that,
the
and,
strangers.
I have to say, we said we were okay. We got to talk. I guess we have to bring it up. Um, but that's actually the same thing that is going to affect the Scream movies. They announced part 7, okay. Then they announced part 8. And I'm just like, what the hell are you thinking? Who does that? Who does that? Who announces a part 8? Now you got all those people sitting there. You got the hardcore fans that are going to come out there and are going to rally to it, right? The first weekend's going to be big. It's already tracking 35 million to 40. The second weekend, it's going to drop like a rock because that's what all horror movie does.
Yeah.
But there's not going to be any suspense to it, right? No suspense. It's like, why? And it just kills me because it's like you just got done just taking the knees out of everybody involved in the project by sitting there announcing the studio announcing, oh, by the way, we're going to do another one after that. It just makes it seem really greedy and not well thought of. It's like, we can take your money anytime we want to. And again, in a sense, the studio has locked themselves into a place whereas I don't think 8 has been filmed yet, but they announced it. And so now people are, who were going to go to see it on the theater, part 7, maybe this is the end of it. All of a sudden now it's like, yeah, maybe I don't need to rush out there to the theater to watch it because part 8 is coming down the road. I'll just wait for that.
Right. And it's one of those where I think we all know Sydney is safe no matter what. I think that there's never any fear about that. We all know that Nev is not going to let Sydney die. But we cannot have a revisit of Scream 6 where there's no major deaths. I don't know when when horror movies and TV shows started to play things so safe. Like Stranger Things played it super safe. Scream 6 played it super safe. Do I need a red wedding? No. But you need to raise the stakes to where I'm genuinely worried that anybody can die at any time. That's what I need to see.
I didn't see Scream 6, but I have to admit I haven't seen Scream 6, but I was really rooting for one character to make it through because I'm really hoping that she can bounce back and do well and get her career back up and running, and that was Hayden Panettiere. I know she played. I don't know what her character is named, but I do know that her character survived, and I was happy to hear that. Now, does that mean her character will probably die in this movie? Probably 50-50. Probably be if she comes back. I mean, her character make it to the next movie? 50-50.
Right.
But at least she didn't do it for Scream 6, and I gotta admit, I was rooting for her. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, Ken. It does seem like it does. Part of it too, I think, is the studio heads. Before you had creatives at the studio head, that run the studios, the top of the people who ran the different departments. They were creatives.
Yep.
Now we have suits. Now it's only about the bottom line. How much money can we make? How fast can we make it? How fast can we get it to stream? To start generating income there. There's no passion. There's no creativity behind these movies.
You're right. And I don't want to say there's no creativity behind the movies. There's no creativity behind marketing anymore. Marketing ruins movies. And now with them announcing that Scream 8 is coming, I'm totally anticipating an open ending on this movie, a cliffhanger.
It'll be a cliffhanger. It'll be just like Halloween. Halloween Kills. It'll be just like that. They're looking at like a new trilogy of some sort. And it's like, so the middle part's gonna be open. I mean, they're talking. I mean, I heard a couple of people were talking about different theories and theories and ideas, and I'm like, what does it matter? It doesn't matter what happens in 7 because there's an 8 coming down the road. There's no point in doing a. I got ideas and theories about 7, but they've already taken your ball away from you. You just haven't realized it yet.
It's sad.
Um, yeah, I'm really, I'm not the biggest Scream fan. I'm disappointed for the fan base. When I heard that they said they're going to come back and do 8, the only thing I could think of was to generate 8, any sort of action at all. That's probably they're going to bring back Jenna and their sister. The girl who played. That's what they're saving 8 for. They're gonna bring those 2 back along with Courtney and Neve, and they're
Nev.
gonna have a big wild. They're gonna have a wild free for fall.
See, I think that Scary Movie 6 could do the funniest thing in the world by bringing Melissa and Jenna into that movie. I think that could be. Could you imagine if we have a scene where Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega are walking and you're like, I thought that we didn't agree to be in this movie, could be the funniest thing in the world.
I had thought that movie had been made. I thought it was coming out. I didn't realize they were still putting together the cast for it.
Oh no, it's been filmed. We're getting our first trailer during Scream 7.
Well, I was really happy to be here. Do you know who's actually going to be in the movie?
Who's that?
One of the greatest indie Scream queens ever.
Felissa Rose.
Yeah.
Yes, she's in there. She's parodying the part in Terrifier 3 where Art the Clown blows up the Santa Claus stuff.
I'm so happy for her.
Yep. She's gonna. That's amazing. Good for her. She deserves it.
She really does. I mean, there's so many. You know what? It's funny because you're here, and I'm gonna bring something up to you, and I'm gonna get your opinion about this because, because you're an actor. You're an actor as well. You actually do a lot of acting as well as doing Sledgehammer Horror. So let me go. Let me just start off with this. What's the last movie that you watched that you physically just got pissed off at it? Like, you just, like, if the director was in front of you, you're clocking the hell out of them. What was the last movie that really got you that fired up?
Because I disliked it, or because the movie itself angered me?
Both.
If I'm going on the movie itself angering me, it would probably be Eden Lake, which I'm very late to that party, I know. We had never seen it, and we were just asked to do a review of it not that long ago, and we watched it, and I was baffled at the end with, again, well written, but it made me so mad just because of how dark that ending is, and I was just like just crawling in my own skin. If we're talking about how mad I was because of the movie, and I'm going to have to give a disclaimer here and an explanation as to why, it would be Iron Lung. And the reason why is because that movie had no business being over 2 hours long. Markiplier wrote, directed, and starred in that movie. 2 out of the 3 of those he did amazing. It was amazing acting. The direction was incredible. He needs a writing partner.
You can't wear all the hats.
Right. He needs a writing partner to tell him, hey, man, we can cut 45 minutes out of this, and you're still going to make a very successful film.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always stated. I know there's a lot of the creatives that come out there. They want to act and write and direct, and it's like, you can't do all 3. You just can't do it. Something's going to suffer for it, and it always does. It always does. It's just better to do 2 out of the 3. especially for this first movie, so to speak. You want to get used to that weight, to work underneath those conditions of making a feature film. And a lot of times, it just doesn't work. They just collapse out of the weight. I heard that Iron Lung is not very good at all. It's like it got a lot of hoopla about because of who he was.
Yeah, I think the movie's very good. Like when it comes to like being like a film, it's a very good concept. It follows the video game very closely if you're a fan of the video game. It does all these things right, but again, it's a guy essentially in a submarine for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it didn't have. If you would have went the host direction with this and made a 70-minute film, this could have been an incredible film. But it's a chore to get through because you're watching the same shit happen for over 2 hours in one location without a lot of action. And again, there are people that loved this movie. I'm happy you did, guys. The people that watched this that loved it, I'm so glad you did. Anytime horror succeeds, I'm happy. Even if it's a movie I didn't enjoy. But man, it was very hard for me to get through that film. Molly.
Yeah, I heard a lot. I heard a lot of the same thing too, with people reacting to Skinner Moretti. People that was the biggest complaint that I heard about that movie, was the fact that it was so long.
See, I thought Skinamarink at least did a great job of building dread for me. Do I think it was a great movie? No, but it was a fun movie. Like I was constantly wondering, like, what's happening? What's going to happen next? Where's this going? Like, I didn't have any of those feelings with that.
Yeah, I agree. What I liked about Skinner Moretti was the fact that, I was reading about Iron Lung, and I was thinking, this does sort of sound like the same thing, except for two kids. You have one guy, and they're stuck there. The kids were stuck in the house, and he was stuck in the submarine. I think you're right. The biggest thing on both those movies, the biggest complaint I heard was the fact that it just was too long of a movie. And I would be the first to agree that if they go ahead and they trimmed it off, 15, 20 minutes off of Skinner Moretti, it would have worked a lot better than it did, in its full length. I think that just comes, that actually comes from, I think, again, it's lack of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
really, that's all it is. The next time he makes his next movie he makes, guaranteed it'll be 90, 95 minutes.
I hope that, like I said, what he needs is a writing partner to come up and say, hey, dude, we need to take this down a little bit. Like, we need to bring this back a little bit. There's nothing that we need to do for 2 hours long in this situation. And again, I wish the guy nothing but the most success. I don't think he should stop making films. Like, I've seen people say that, like, oh, he tried, and dude, he had the number 2 movie in America on an indie budget. Great job, dude. There's obviously something there, but we just need to get to the point to where we can also say, hey, my favorite creator made something and it wasn't perfect. He can improve on things.
Made it really even more impressive than the number 2 spot was he got that number 2 spot while dealing with a massive snowstorm, and he still got those numbers up. Of course, it dropped afterwards, but that's horror. Horror always drops after the first weekend.
Right.
But he made his money. He definitely. And he's going to earn now. Here's the thing. Here's the thing I would tell that young man. I would tell him, like, listen, for your second movie, do exactly what you did for the first one.
Yep.
You don't need to go to any studio to do it. Screw that.
Just like Damien Leone.
Mm-hmm. Make it on your own terms. There's too many directors that go out there, make that first movie that pops, and next thing you know, they get handed the keys to the studio, make a studio movie, and then they bomb, and then it takes years for a lot of these directors to get another chance. It's not like they step out and like, okay, I don't want to direct anymore. It's that they can't get through the door after that.
Well, a lot of people don't want to sell their products off. They want to do it themselves.
Um, yeah, you mentioned the marketing. Marketing. Wow. Man. I saw that I still see the traditional marketing is still at play. I looked at the commercials for Super Bowl, and it seemed like half of them were all previews for movies. And tell me if am I crazy? So I saw and I'll put this out to the chat too. Am I crazy, or did when I was watching a Project Hail Mary trailer, didn't Adam Sandler do that same damn movie last year? He did. He did. Okay. I was watching it and going like, why does this sound all so familiar? Adam Sandler did this last year. And he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I just like, I don't go to the movies. I don't watch streaming, but I knew, I read I was reading about that movie he did because they're saying it was a serious role for him. And I followed the synopsis, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm watching this on the trailer, going like, he he's this is Adam Sandler's movie. Where's he at? uh, so yeah. Um, what do you think of the upcoming movies coming up? As far as marketing goes, do you think they did a good job? Do you think most studios are doing good jobs now? How do you think they could improve? Because I think some of them have gotten lazy.
Less
I
is
think
more.
they've turned over.
We need to go back to a less is more approach. We have 3 reviews coming out this weekend. Tomorrow, our review for Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is coming out. Friday, our review for Cold Storage is coming out. And Saturday, our review for The Mortuary Assistant. So we were able to see these 3 films a little early. And I'm very excited for people to check out these reviews and see what we thought of those 3 films. 2 of them are bangers. One of them we didn't like as much. But overall, 2026 has been very impressive in the horror movies that I've seen.
Did you watch Whistle yet?
No, I have not seen Whistle yet.
That's the one I want to see. Has anybody seen Whistle? And if so, what do you think? That's the one that got me. That one got my bell ringing. And then there's another one coming out with Sean God Stifler plays Stifler. Sean Scott.
Oh, Sean William Scott? Are you talking about Dolly?
Yeah. Yes.
I saw that last year. We saw that at Fantastic Fest last year.
And
I can't. I mean, our review's up on the channel. I don't want to spoil it for people here because we did do a spoiler review. I think it's fine.
Just fine?
Yeah. It's the perfect mix of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Barbarian.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? It looked so much more gothic-y than that, with all the dolls around and shit like that. It looks creepy as hell.
The dolls, man. Okay, mild spoiler for Dolly. The dolls have very, very, very little to do with the film. Very little to do with the film.
So that's really whoever marketed that movie did a great job in the previews because they got you talking about that little scene and taking away from the main. That's all right. That's a good thing.
Yep.
Here we are talking about marketing.
It's definitely worth a watch. I will say also that I liked it a lot more than Ashley did. That was actually on Ashley's top 10 least favorite films of last year. So that's how much she did not like it.
Your wife hates me.
But I mean, I just want to look here.
I consider her going like, oh, this is an ISC film? Oh, I can tell you right what I think about that.
So if I'm looking at the movies that we've seen so far this year, let me go to my 2026 playlist real quick. And this is not counting like Dolly, because we had saw that last year, so we didn't put that on the list for this one. Primate I thought was good. 28 Years Later I thought was good. Night Patrol was a dud. Return to Silent Hill was a dud.
Oh,
In
oh,
Infirmary was good. Iron Lung was fine. Send Help was very good. Dracula: A Love Tale was good. Twisted was mediocre. The Strangers Chapter 3 was a dud, and then Misdirection was okay. And then you have Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, which I think is my favorite of the year so far. Cold Storage, which is also a lot of fun. And then The Mortuary Assistant, which I feel like I probably would have liked The Mortuary Assistant a little more had I played the game first before I had watched the movie. I watched the movie before I had played the game, and they do the same thing with that they did with Return to Silent Hill. And if you don't know the game, a lot of what they talk about in the Mortuary Assistant is going to go over your head. You're not going to. It's one of those things where they depend on your game knowledge to understand the movie. And I think that
same thing with comic books. Same thing with comic books.
And it sucks when they do that.
I have to admit, I haven't been to the theater since I saw It Too. Everybody knows I haven't gone to the theater. I have to be honest with you. At first I was actually getting hyped up to maybe go see Silent Hill because I love the first movie so much. Hated the second one, but then they said the team for the first movie was going to do the third one. So I was getting all amped up for it, and then all of a sudden it came out and it got crushed. So what the hell happened? I mean, again, is it one of those things where the studio got involved in it?
Yes.
I didn't know anybody in the movie. There was no named actors in that movie that I could see.
Well, a friend of mine's in that movie, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, her name's Emily. Emily Carding is a good friend of Ashley and mine. And she's in the film. And she said the same thing. She was like, Ken, like, I wish I could tell you all the scenes that we had in there that didn't make the cutting room floor, and I don't know why. She's like, I have no idea why these scenes did not make it to the floor. I'm hoping that we get a director's cut eventually. I think the thing is they didn't know which audience they wanted to go for. Because if you knew the games, you are going to be disappointed in this movie because they cut a lot of the games out. They switched a lot of things. If you don't know the games, you're not going to understand a lot of this movie because they still depend on your game knowledge. Two of my favorite characters from the game are essentially erased from this movie. And it's like, those are two of my absolute favorite characters in the Silent Hill universe, and you just almost just got rid of them.
Yeah. That happened to me. That happened to me. That is true when there's a key element, there's a key player missing in a movie that you're really looking forward to see. Like for me, it was the Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay.
Man, they had such a huge hole in that movie. I was like, where the hell is Tom Bombadil, who's a very big character in the first movie and the first book? And like, where is he? And Jackson didn't put him in the first movie. And you come out of that, you come out of that thinking, where'd he go? What happened to him? Because he was that vital to the film, and they didn't put him in there.
Right.
Let me check out with the chat here. I'm sure you got a chat going on. Let's see. Jerry mentions thanks, smash button. Thank you, sir. Let's see. And he also says, show Sledgehammer some love. That's right. Get over there and God, how many people you got now on your channel, Ken? You got 12,000?
Oh, for subscribers?
Yeah.
14.6.
14.6. Jesus Christ. Not that far away from 15.
Hoping. We're hoping to get that by the middle of the year.
What about you guys? What about you guys this year as far as activities go? Are you guys filming any movies? In any movies?
We're hoping to film. Yeah, we're going to be at GhoulieCon in St. Louis. We're guests out there. So anybody watching in the western central part of the United States, if you want to come meet us in March at GhoulieCon in St. Louis, we'll be there. And then we're hoping to film our movie The Monster this year. It's a Sledgehammer original. And it's definitely a horror movie. Like I want to make that known. It's a horror film. It's a short.
Is this a homage to Brian Bertano?
No.
Because he made a movie called The Monster.
Right. That's just the word. I doubt when we actually release it, it'll be called The Monster. But it's a real life horror movie. It's how far will someone go to stop their children from being bullied? What would they do to stop their children from being hurt? And I think that people are going to watch this and wonder what the fuck is wrong with Ashley and I. I think people are really going to be like,
I think it's actually a legitimate question in a legitimate world.
Yeah.
It is trippy, and you and I, we can go here with this because we're not afraid to talk about this. Isn't it amazing? Doesn't it amaze you to see how many people are scared to express themselves about?
Scared to you cut out. Scared to what?
They're scared to express themselves about what's going on in the country. Isn't it amazing how many people are scared to go out there and say anything about it?
Mm-hmm. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
I think that for me, I don't talk about my politics on Sledgehammer Horror, but people that know me personally, they know where I stand. I'm on the side of innocent children. You know.
Yeah, you're not afraid to speak your mind on your Facebook page.
I'm not.
I have respect for you for that.
Yeah, anybody that follows I keep that off of Sledgehammer Horror just because I have to remember that this is a partnership, and essentially it is a business. We're LLC, and I don't want the rest of the team at Sledgehammer Horror to be lumped under the umbrella of what I feel. Because it's not just me. Ashley is an equal part of this. We have a guy that does a lot behind the scenes for us named Bill. He's an equal part of this. We have a guy that helps us with booking. His name's Michael. He's an equal part of this. This Sledgehammer Horror is a team of people. And
do you feel though like the bigger you get, the less freedom you have?
No, I don't think that's really the case. I still every day answer every single comment Sledgehammer Horror gets, whether it's a positive or negative comment on YouTube. And I don't think I'll ever stop doing that. I don't think that's something I could ever stop doing because I'm so appreciative. And we had someone today tell us, I respect your opinion, but I don't think this movie's for you. And they were very respectful about their response, and I was very respectful back to them. And we had a nice conversation. And it was all about how much they disagreed with our review. It was like, hey, I respect your review, but I respect your review, but I think you're wrong. And they said it in a very respectful and kind way, and we were able to have a real, genuine conversation about it, and I appreciated that.
That's a good segue because I wanted to make a point. I asked you earlier, what was the last movie that made you angry, physically angry, like, screw this movie, screw the guy who made it, screw the guy who made it. I asked that because, I guess reviewing movies it's a weird animal, because everybody does it differently. I'm sitting here and I'm watching. I got sent a movie called. I sent a movie called The Vic Effect, and it was one of those movies where I watched the movie and it's like it wasn't my necessarily cup of tea. Now I like the actors in it. I just didn't like the movie that they were in.
Sure.
I didn't. And I was respectful about it. I appreciate it for what it was. There's been people in the movie. There's a couple of people in the movie that had actually been on the show before, and I knew one of the producers. And it's like I guess you could say you had skin in the game because you know people.
Mm-hmm.
But I was honest enough to tell them about their movie. I says, it wasn't for me. Doesn't mean anything about you guys. But
Right.
but on the other hand, I'm going to be reviewing a movie I've been sitting on here for about 3 or 4 weeks. I cannot wait. I have my stuff in order, as far as reviewing. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
go and take it and just like I need to say something about this. So I'm just going to take it from the top, bottom of the stack. But I am going to get there.
Yeah.
I am so angry at this movie. The more I think about it, the more I just really can't wait to really sink my teeth into this because I did take it personal. I do take it personal.
Sure.
I think and that's a rare thing. I think these days where you see someone actually sit there and say, like, I don't like it or I like it. They're afraid to express themselves any more than that.
Right.
I just can't do that. I know people that, well, that's not very professional. You're gonna burn a bridge. I'm going. To me, it's like, you know what? In this case, here's $20. We'll get me some gas.
See, but I will fully disagree with that sentiment. And I'll tell you why. We did a review last year on a movie called The Drowned. We did not like the film, and we released our review. And one of the first comments we got was the director of the film. He watched our review, and he was like, "Hey, there's certain things that you guys said in your review that were, accurate. There's certain things you said that you were not. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with you." Of course, hey, here's my email. Hit me up. So we did an interview with him. And, we talked for about an hour before the interview even started about certain things in the movie that I liked and that I disliked. And he even called us out on something. He was like, you said this moment, moment X, you said was CGI. It wasn't. It was done practically. We did a reprimandum, or whatever it's called, in the description of the video saying, hey, we fluffed at this moment. We said it was CGI. We were wrong. We should have done our research. This is on Sledgehammer Horror. This part was done practically. We apologize. And I loved interviewing him. Like, that is one of, I don't want to say favorite interviews, because I'm so appreciative of everybody I get to talk to on this channel. So appreciative. And I don't take anybody for granted. But I love that interview because he went into this knowing we didn't like his film, and he still reached out to us and was like, hey, I respect it. And something that Ashley and I do, we have a flow to every review. It's an intro, all our positives, all our negatives, and then we do spoilers. And I feel like we should always find a positive in a movie we disliked, and we should always find negatives in movies that we really liked. I feel like that's fair. That's fair judgment. And I tell people, like even friends of mine, like, hey, can you review my film? I can, but I'm going to be honest. And if you don't want that honest critique, I probably shouldn't do it. And anybody that knows me has probably heard me say this word 50 million times. I'm very, very big on integrity and the importance of integrity. And with Sledgehammer Horror, it's not just my integrity a question, it's my wife's. And so if you want me to review a film, if you want me to review your short, if you want me to, I'm fine. I'm happy with it. But you have to be happy with the result too, even if we're negative,
Yeah. I mean, you can't. I reviewed 2 movies recently, like the Vic Effect, which the main actor came by and he saw my review and he came by and says, "Thank you for your honest review." And part of times, a lot of times you do a review with somebody and you sit there and you're like, it does make your stomach twirl a little bit, like, man, what happens if they come out there and they drop one that doesn't agree with you, and it does happen. And then I did another one. I did one on Tubi, this little creature feature on Tubi, and it was just it looked straight from, it's like sci-fi, sci-fi level movie, and it's like It's one of those really fun ones where you didn't have any doubt at all that it was CGI.
Right.
It's just if you watch any sci-fi movies from 10 years ago, you know what I'm saying. And I made a couple hiccups to it, and the director came by and he took me to he pointed those things out to me, and I said, well, I said, you know what? There's only one thing for me left to do, and that's to go back and do another review, so I can get it right. You
Yeah.
know, I can go back there. I can go ahead and give you a movie to watch another movie. Because it was an okay movie. It wasn't outstanding or anything else like that. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a goofy Tubi movie, and it was.
Right.
What I'm upset though for the movie I'll be talking about is the fact that there's nothing worse to me. And I posted this up in this week. I posted up my little blurb that I did my review for John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars. As a reviewer, and as a moviegoer, the one thing I hate more than anything else is a waste of talent.
Yeah.
That gets me really, if it's a poor story, it's a poor effects, poor whatever. But whenever you have a grade A cast or a singular talent and you just waste it out of hand, that just really bothers me tremendously. And so this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be watching this movie. I'm going to be reviewing it, and in it has two people that have been on my show before. And the person who did this movie is straight out exploitation, and not in a good way. And I did. I knew the movie was. I knew the movie without someone gave it to me, so I got to watch it, and I was not expecting what I saw. I knew the movie was going to be bad, but I did not know it was just basically going to be just those two actresses who are trying to advance their careers being told just to go ahead and run around naked for like 90% of the movie. I was so angry with that because it's such, they're trying to advance their career. You're not helping them any. You are hurting their career. You're not helping them. You're hurting them. And it's
right.
And it just really pisses me off that it's like you don't have any common sense, right? You just want to exploit what you had. I don't see you running your sister out there or your mom out there in those roles. So why would you go ahead and think that would be okay to put two other girls out there? Because what? Because of their background? Because one has one dances, one is this bullshit, Ken? And it's like. It takes no talent at all to do this what this hack did, and it just really angers me because you see that and you do take that shit personally. Like I don't want to see any actor that we talk to. I don't ever want to see them have a bad movie. You always want the best for them. Jamie Hill. Speaking of Skinamarink, Jamie Hill is in the house. One of the stars of that movie. Hi, how are you, Jamie? Yeah,
Shut the door.
Okay, so Ghost of Mars. This is what got me about that movie. That movie's cast is fire. To me, I think it's John Carpenter's best cast from top to bottom. I know that a lot of people say Skip in New York, but really, I think Ghost of Mars has the top count from top to bottom. Yeah, that cast is stacked. And then you go out there and then you watch this movie and you're just sitting there going like, oh, this is just horrible. This is not a good movie at all. What a waste. And that's frustrating. You feel bad for the actors in it. You feel sorry for John Carpenter. It's like, wow, what happened, John? Where did they go wrong? And then you lose that cast. It stinks. It was decent when they had the right actors on screen. When you saw the good actors that were there, but the story itself and the effects, it looked like it was done on a stage play, on a sound stage.
Sure.
And it looks like it. It looked like that from day one when I saw it at the theater. It looked like it was done on a sound stage.
And that is beyond frustrating.
Yes. So I don't know. To me, I heard, I've been hearing people talk about toxic horror. Someone had mentioned they wanted to talk about some recent horror movies, and they wanted to avoid the toxicity of the fan base. I know it seems like this comes up every other year, but where do you see the state of horror right now, Ken? I mean, are you seeing it being a little bit toxic right now, or are people is it spilling over? Is the real world spilling over into the world of make believe? Are we seeing that now?
Overall, no. Scream, yes. I think Scream. Look, and again, I don't want to get too political here. I have I've been so blessed in Sledgehammer Horror and some of the things I've been able to do. I have, and I realize, there's nothing different about me than anybody else out there. Nothing. I've just had some lucky opportunities, and I've had a couple amazing conversations with Melissa Barrera. I think that she is, just a goddess of a woman and so kind and so loving, and I hate what happened to her. I hate it. Like, I can't even put into words how bad and how angry that made me for such an amazing woman to speak her view and not get re-signed on for a movie. That sucked. The whole situation sucked. But what the fans of Melissa Barrera are doing now sucks. When you're spoiling films, and if you want to boycott a film, that's fine. Good, more power to you. I think that if you are strong enough in your convictions that that's what you want to do, good for you. Good for you. Don't ruin it for other people. That just makes you a dick. That doesn't make you a social justice warrior. It makes you an asshole. Period. That's all it does. And Melissa Barrera's moved on. She's done great things since she left the Scream franchise.
Yeah. It didn't hurt her career. It didn't hurt Jenna's career.
No.
They're still out there fighting the good fight.
Right. And so I think that the Scream fandom, it's really Scream fans versus Melissa fans now. And that sucks. I don't want to see horror go at each other. And like I said, I'm on the side of what happened to Melissa is garbage. I hate it. I've been very vocal that I hate what happened to her. Boycotting a movie is not going to do any good for anybody, in my opinion. There's no children in Palestine that are going to get help because you didn't watch Scream 7. And I'm not trying to be, cold, and I'm not trying to be saying that your cause doesn't matter. That's not what I'm saying. But if you want to help the people of Palestine, especially the children of Palestine that are victims and need help, help them. Do what you can to really make a difference and really help them. Spoiling Scream 7 isn't going to help them.
No.
It takes money away from them. Listen, Spyglass. Well, the thing is, they want to boycott Spyglass. And I'm like, well, you're still watching Warner Brothers movies. You're still watching Lionsgate movies. And that's who owns Spyglass. If you want to boycott every movie from Warner Brothers, Lionsgate, Spyglass, more power to you.
Yeah, not going to be watching
right. And that's the other thing. Well, the Spyglass is owned by Zionist, or however you say it. And I'm like, so is every movie studio in Hollywood. Like, all of them. Like, you might as well just stop watching film. Because if that's really what you want to do is hit them in the pocket, that's what you're going to have to do. Because like I said, Lionsgate, Warner Brothers, Spyglass, they're all under the same umbrella. And, Spyglass is the littlest one there. So they don't get that much. Most of the money comes from Lionsgate and Warner Brothers anyway. So when you're going to watch Weapons, when you're going to watch Final Destination 6 or Bloodlines, those Warner Brothers movies, Sinners, you're supporting Spyglass by doing that. So, again, the last thing I would ever do is say your resistance doesn't matter. I would never say that to somebody. If this is what you want to do, is you want to boycott this movie, you want to boycott this studio, I hope that you find some inner peace with it. But like I said, ruining it for other people just makes you an ass. That's it. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anything.
I didn't even know there was a boycott. Tells you how far aloof I am in that goes. I really don't know anything what's going to happen. I mean, like I said, I had totally but no, I didn't know there was a boycott. I didn't know it was because of that. I remember when they were so pissed off some of the fans were so pissed off at Melissa when she took over when Nip Campbell didn't get paid. They were ripping her up and down the street. Now,
and that's the thing.
Now she's their best friend.
Well, it's flipped. You know, people were like, "Well, Melissa shouldn't do this if Nev's not getting paid." You know, and now it's Nev shouldn't do this since Melissa got let go, and it's like, man, like the irony is so funny to me that people can't see they're going against what they were against, or they're going against what they were for last time. Like you can't. It's at the end of the day, it's a movie. It's a movie, and
I did feel bad for Melissa because because to me it was like a teachable moment. You know, you could have she said what she said, but she said it from a place where she didn't know. You know, she didn't. You know, not everybody knows history. But I think if you take someone like that and you sit there and say, "Listen, before you go up there, let me just share some knowledge with you, so you come from a stronger place, a stronger position." Instead of just because a lot of that sort of shit is just like the toxic fans. It's all out of because they wear the heart on their sleeve, so they react with their hearts. You know, they don't really react with the brain; they react with their emotion. And I didn't know, but the boycott thing—that's sort of cute, actually.
Yeah. It really makes me. I just think it's such a bummer because, like I said, this is nothing against Melissa. I genuinely think she's one of the kindest people. The times that Ashley and I had met her, we had to stay off the record, so I will never discuss the things that we discussed with her. That was a big thing with her. It was, hey, I don't mind talking to you, but it can't be filmed, and I would like for my opinions to stay mine. You know, and it's of course, we didn't film any of these interviews. But we've met her twice at Horror Hound, and both times she was just incredible. So nice, so kind, so willing to have a conversation. And, like I said, she's moved on. That's all I want to say is she's moved on. She's ready for other things to happen in her career, and other things are happening in her career. Yeah. Like if you want to support Melissa Barrera, and like this is the biggest thing for me, because I think that another thing we're losing out on is, we can't go watch Scream because she's not in it now. And it's like, if that's how you feel, that's fine. But how about you go and watch The Copenhagen Test? Why didn't you guys show up for Annabelle when that movie bombed in the theater? And it didn't deserve to, You want to bitch about what she's not in, but you guys aren't flooding the cinemas to see what she is. And that's the biggest thing for me. Like I said, the Copenhagen Test is a great TV series that she's in. All these movies that she's in that nobody shows up for. Your Monster, which I thought was fantastic. Abigail, which was great. I know she has the collaboration coming up. She has Black Tides coming up. Go support her in cinema by watching these movies instead of complaining about the movies that she's not in. Like that. That to me is.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that Abigail. I still have not had that come across my library yet, but I definitely want to see that.
I love it. I love it.
That looks to be a lot of fun.
It is. It's a blast.
So you guys are going to conventions. So what do you think about the state of conventions? Is it a healthy place? It seems to me like last year, for the first time that I can remember. Boy, did it seem like there was convention burnout or what? What do you think? Is that a one-time thing, or is it something that promoters should be aware of and be wary of, not to overprice their fans out the door?
Well, and that's another thing people need to realize is exactly what you said. A lot of times, promoters set pricing too. I mean, if we're going to meet our favorite celebrities, like they still got to eat. You know what I mean? Like you got to pay to see them. I don't think convention burnout is because Horror Hound last year was as busy as it's ever been. Horror Hound and Scarefest are my two favorites that we go to. Like we still go to those ones as fans, and it's fun, because there's obviously people that see us in the crowd and come up like, oh my God, it's nice to meet you, so cool, and one of the best compliments we ever got, I'm not going to name drop the person because they might be in the chat, but we sat and had a conversation with them, and afterwards they were like, you guys are just as nice in person as you are on camera. And that was one of the best compliments we've ever gotten, because that's what you see is what you get with Ashley and I. And that's just a fact. There's nothing different about us in person than there is on camera. For those of you that didn't watch our Stranger Things 3 review, which you should definitely watch, the beginning of the review is me screaming and cursing in the background.
Yeah, you got to put a disclaimer out for that.
I did, and that's what I was just going to talk about. If you listen, after I dropped the first F-bomb that I dropped, you can hear one of my daughters laughing.
Yeah.
I let my daughters be in the room for that because I don't do that. I don't scream and curse, and I didn't want them to hear me from across the house and be like, what is happening? Is everything okay? So I told them, like, hey, Daddy's going to be yelling pretty loud. Daddy's going to be saying a lot of curse words. I'm not mad. I'm not, because, it's obviously if Mia and Ashley are in the studio and the kids hear me screaming like that, what's going on with Mom and Dad? So I was like, if you guys want to be in the room so you can see how it goes, I need you to be quiet, but you guys can come back and watch. And you can hear, after I dropped that first F-bomb, you could hear my daughter audibly laugh in the video.
Yeah.
And after it was over, I had...
there is a reason why in the movies there's always that one statement that whoever says it, people always laugh, and that is when someone says, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
If it comes into the movie, you're just dying. For some reason, that is the funniest line in a movie when you hear somebody say that. You just lose your shit. You laugh.
Right. Well, I hope that, my hope is that people watch it and they realize, that's who Ashley and I are. We don't scream at each other. We don't curse at each other. That's why we've been together for 21 years. That's not, and our kids don't get screamed at. They get dad voice. Don't get me wrong. I'll put on dad voice, when it's time to. But I don't scream at my kids. I don't curse at my kids. So I let them be in the room so they could see, Dad and Mom are just having fun. Your dad would never talk to your mom like that. Your dad would definitely never talk to you like that. So nobody else better, ever. Whoever your partner is.
I am very entertained. I'm very entertained. I'm sure the people in the chat are too. Are very entertained by the fur ball. You guys do fur ball once in a while, and that is with Jason and Michael Myers. So I didn't really realize, I really didn't realize until recently exactly how big of a fur ball that really was. And I'm just going to go on the record right now, Ken. We're Team Ken.
All right.
We love Jason.
Okay.
Jason's our boy. So
Good.
tell us about the evolution of the fur ball between you and Ashley. Though if Ashley even hereditary, I probably went back to her side.
Yeah. Like you said, that's something that's been going on for many moons. I've always been a huge Jason fan. Ashley has always been a huge Michael fan. So I think it's just, and it's funny because we'll have people that'll be like, I think Freddy's better, right? Whatever. And I agree. I think Freddy's better. Chucky's my favorite. But we always go with Jason and Michael because there's always that comparison between those two. The big, broody, quiet slashers. You're going to have the comparisons of Michael and Jason. I do prefer Freddy to both of them. I do prefer Chucky.
Which Freddy? Robert or Jackie Earl?
Robert.
Okay.
To be fair, though, I think Jackie Earl Haley is a better Freddy Krueger. When it comes to being a monster and a villain, You hate Jackie Earle every time he's on screen, and that's how you're supposed to feel. You're not supposed to like Freddy, you know. But for me, Freddy's always Robert.
You can't blame Robert Englund for that. I cannot blame him for that. That's
Right.
not, because you go back to the first movie, and he's fearsome as hell. The first movie, and then after the second one came out, and then the third one, and then they had some jokes, and all of a sudden, then it became, we'll never gonna have Freddy tell jokes. And a lot of that's out of Robert Englund's hands. It's like, okay, I got to do what they tell me to do, and that's that's really what it is. So I felt bad for him, but yes, Jackie Earle Haley is truly a monster, truly what Freddy Krueger is all about. So that's why I asked which one you preferred.
I do prefer Robert, but like I said, Jackie Earle is just terrifying. Like, he's terrifying as Freddy, and you hate him. Like, you hate him. Every time he's on screen, you're like, fuck this guy, man. Like, he's disgusting. And, he was actually in one of my favorite movies last year called Your Host.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. But
Loved it.
Did that come out that came out as a streamer, though, right?
Yeah. I believe it's available VOD now. But, man, that was a good movie. Such a good movie. I mean, I do see someone in the Stewie just asked, "What's your favorite Universal monsters?" Oh, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. For me, I think the Creature from the Black Lagoon is such a Beauty and the Beast story, and I love it. I love the Creature.
I gotta go with my main man. I gotta go with Dracula for me.
And I can tell you, Ashley's is Frankenstein, Stewie. Frankenstein's monster is Ashley's favorite.
I'm gonna be doing Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein pretty soon.
Dude, one of the funniest moments from my childhood is when, cause I love Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. Love that movie. And the part where they're running from Frankenstein's monster, and they push the bed up against the door, and they've got it all barricaded, and then it's a pull door. And Frankenstein just pulls the door open and climbs over the bed. That is such a funny moment. Like, it's an Abbott and Costello goofy moment, sure. But I remember as a kid, that moment was just so funny to me. Because they had just barricaded the door so he couldn't make his way in. But it's not a push door, it's a pull door. So he just pulls the door open and climbs right over the bed. And I just thought it was so funny as a kid to watch that moment. It was just, it's just...
You think movies from the 30s and 40s and maybe even halfway up to the 50s, do you think that a lot of them are just being forgotten? It seems like the way I put it was, we grew up watching those movies, but we aged out of them, right? We aged out, and then you look for the people who come up from behind for the next generation. It just seems to me like there's no more next generation that seems to care about an Abbott or a Costello or a Dracula or a Creature from the Black Lagoon. It seems like that more and more, and it feels like we're drowning. It feels like you're drowning in water.
Well, I think the reason why is
drowning in it.
People just don't give it the chance. People don't. They hear it's a movie from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and like, I have no interest in watching that. That can't be entertaining. That's below me. And they don't realize that everything that they're watching today is so highly influenced by the movies back. You know what I mean? Like, without the Universal monsters, we don't have my Mount Rushmore of monsters with, Freddy, Jason, Chucky, Ghostface. Like, those don't exist without the Universal monsters. And, I think that you always want to pay tribute to the ones that came before you. And we just watched that Dracula, A Love Story, and I thought it was very good. Very good. It surprised me how well done that movie was.
I think sometimes the studios go to the well too often, like another Dracula movie, and it's like, wow, they just did one.
This one is different though. Like, this is not a horror movie. Like, I would even say that, and we said that in our review. There's very little horror elements to this movie. This is a true love story. Like, and Caleb Landry Jones blew my mind with how good he did in this movie. Like, Caleb Landry Jones was phenomenal as Dracula in this movie. But this is a total love story. Like, the title Dracula, A Love Story is not a lie. There's obviously horror elements to it, but there is nothing like what we're used to with Dracula.
But the thing is that you look at the box office, and the box office pretty much tells you like nobody asked for it. Like no one's sitting there going like, yeah, I want to see another. Like there's gonna be another werewolf movie coming up here in a minute, and it's like nobody's really asked for it. I hadn't heard anybody sit there and say, gee, I hadn't seen a good werewolf movie in 6 months. Let's make one.
Well, I think the werewolf one is going to be super successful. It's Robert Eggers, so that is going to make a shit ton of money. I'm with you. I don't think they're necessary, but all I can say is Dracula: A Love Story really took me by surprise with how well done it was.
Good cast.
I'm a sucker for a love story,
I agree with you about the cast. I mean, I saw, there's Christoph, and I'm like, wow, Christoph Waltz, and I'm like, okay, that guy's excellent. He's just one of those actors that you do gravitate to see whatever he does. I'm like that with Jared Harris. That guy could read the newspaper. I'm sitting there watching it. That guy's so fucking phenomenal. And I even said that I think he's better than his dad. I think he's better than his dad.
Hey, Ashley's here for a second, guys.
All right. Hello. Hi, Ashley.
He said hi. I got the earbud in, so she can't hear you.
I can't hear.
Oh
yeah.
Anything.
Oh.
Patrick said hi.
Hey guys.
Tell her I sided with Team Jason.
I can't hear him.
He said that he sided with Team Jason.
Patrick.
But tell her how she can get my vote.
He said that if you start to dislike Hereditary a little more, you might get his vote back for Team Michael.
Now I'm getting persuaded.
The blackmail is real.
All right.
Is Ashley working tonight?
Yeah, she had to work tonight. Yeah, she is. I just told Patrick I got to get off here in a second because I got to get the girls to bed. So when I do that, can I call you back?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, love you.
Yeah, we definitely hit our mark. So I want to go ahead and say thank you to everybody who came out and supported both of our channels today. We dual streamed this. I'm sure you probably had 20 people over there.
It's just like I said, the big thing with tonight is just like I love the chance, any chance I get to hang out with you, just because we never get the chance to do this. We're always,
show off. You guys are generally on Thursdays. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. A lot of the same time I am. So that's why I always come in and see what you're doing. And then I have to go, and I always feel bad because it's like, man, I want to stay and watch this and be involved in it, And next thing you know, and then when I'm doing something like this, but I'll work on it. I'll work on being a little bit better as far as popping up, and because I really enjoyed this quite a bit. I always enjoy talking with you.
Yeah, like I said, it's cool because we get to do it every day. When we're at home, talking. So it's nice to actually get here live and hang out with you and talk a little bit.
I bet you probably didn't realize how much I really love cats until now, right?
Yeah.
All right, boys and girls. I'm going to go ahead and let Ken go. I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to say goodnight to the chat. We'll be back here next Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. I'm not quite sure yet. But for sure, we'll be here next Wednesday for Doc Kaiju and Critter. And they'll be here, and it's going to be a night of Kaiju. Cannot wait for that. So we're going to be talking about the new Godzilla movie. We're going to be talking about Monarch. We're going to be talking about our boy Gigan, a little Pacific Rim, a little Atlantic Rim, a little Monster Night. So come by next Wednesday for that. And thanks so much for showing up, and we will see you soon. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Let's see. Ta-da.